Releasing in 1983, Sleepaway Camp chronicles the life of Angela Baker, a shy and troubled teenager forced to live with her aunt after the death of her parents. One summer, Angela and her cousin are sent to camp where a series of mysterious murders begin, all culminating with a twist ending that left the audience in shock. The film was followed by Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers, and Sleepaway Camp 3, Teenage Wasteland, shifting the tone more towards a black comedy as an older, more flamboyant, and homicidal Angela Baker, now portrayed by Pamela Springsteen, stalked camp counselors. The franchise did fade into obscurity, with several ideas being tossed around over the years in how a fourth film could play out. But 19 years would pass, and it wouldn't be until 2008 when we would see the return to Sleepaway Camp, which retconned the previous two sequels from its continuity and saw the return of Felissa Rose to the title role. Notable for its blend of horror and campy humor, as well as its unconventional approach to its central character, Angela Baker, who has become an icon within the horror genre. And while the series didn't achieve the same level of mainstream success as some of the other horror franchises, it has garnered a dedicated cult following over the years. But what about those lost sequels? Well, here are the 5 lost Sleepaway Camp sequels that you may not have, or probably, heard of.
Number 5.
Sleepaway Camp Reunion 3D. 2003's return to Sleepaway Camp served as a direct sequel to the first film, ignoring the events of Part 2 and Part 3. And it was intended that Sleepaway Camp Reunion 3D would be the final chapter in the trilogy of films directed by Robert Hiltzik. Not much is known about the film other than it would follow Mike, one of the older campers from the original film who tormented Angela and somehow managed to survive her wrath. 25 years after the events at Camp Arawak, Mike is invited to a mysterious reunion at a closed mountain resort where he is joined by Ronnie and other surviving campers, and as you would expect, the murders would soon begin again as the returning campers would all die one by one. Felissa Rose was set to return, but the production fell into development hell and it was eventually shelved.
Number 4.
Sleepaway Camp 4 Survivor. We are not certain if we can declare this next one a failed sequel, as it was made. Well, sort of, and it was eventually released online. But the quality of it may make you want to erase it from your memory. In this entry in the franchise, the story follows a survivor from the original film, Allison, who is seeking psychiatric help due to nightmares about the campsite and the murders. To come to terms with what happened, she revisits the camp for a therapeutic journey, only to become embroiled in a set of new murders, causing her to suspect herself as being Angela. Sleepaway Camp Survivor was partially filmed in 1992 before being abandoned due to production company Double Helix Films going bankrupt. Several years later, writer-director John Kliza uncovered lost footage from the film and compiled it with scenes from the last 3 films, expanding the initial 34-minute runtime into a feature-length 70-minute completed film that was released on March 23, 2012.
Number 3.
Sleepaway Camp Angel of Death. After having written and filmed Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 back to back, writer Fritz Gordon intended to do a fourth installment in the franchise, Angel of Death, a reference to a nickname given to Angela in the sequel.
Angela.
Yes?
You're Angela Baker. The Angel of Death. Should I call you Peter?
My name is Angela Johnson.
You're Angela Baker. You killed all those kids at Camp Arawak.
The concept for the fourth Sleepaway Camp installment saw the infusion of a popular 80s teen dramedy into the franchise. And in this installment, we see that Angela Baker had moved on from killing camp counselors to hunting students in the halls of an empty high school during a Saturday morning detention. If a certain famous John Hughes film comes to mind, well then you're right. In Angel of Death, Angela would find herself monitoring detention one Saturday with several troublemakers whose smart mouths would lead to them getting a pencil to the temple or maybe even seeing a ruler go where the sun doesn't shine. Gordon wanted to blend elements of The Breakfast Club with Friday the 13th with a unique twist that would play out at the end.
Number 2.
Sleepaway Camp Summer Stock. The crew from the previous two films had made several attempts to make a fourth film, and in 1989 was another attempt, and this time it saw Felissa Rose coming back in probably one of the most interesting ideas of failed sequels. In Summer Stock, Camp Arawak would have been demolished and a Summer Stock dinner theater would be built in its place. The theater planned to launch with a musical stage production about the life of Angela Baker. But the production would come under scrutiny from a religious cult that deemed sharing Angela's story was sacrilege. Meanwhile, the film explores Felissa Rose's character, who has been locked away in a mental institution dealing with multiple personalities. And one half of her believes that she is Angela Baker. Something that we, the audience, would begin to question, while beginning to feel sorry for what she had to endure. As a series of accidents begin to occur during the production, and the mystery surrounding the source of those accidents and murders, they leave the viewers questioning whether it was the cult or if it's Angela that is responsible for the rising body count. The ending would feature an epic showdown where we would see two Angela Bakers. Yes, that's right, two. We would have Felissa Rose from Sleepaway Camp 1, and then we would have Pamela Springsteen return as Angela from Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3.
Number 1.
Sleepaway Camp Berserk. Michael A. Simpson, producer and director of Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3, Unhappy Campers, and Teenage Wasteland, crafted a sequel that takes a significant departure from the previous installments. First off, the shocking ending would come at the beginning as we see Angela being executed for her crimes. Then we would shift over to see that Camp Arawak would be transformed into a rehab facility for troubled teens. Departing from its slasher roots, Sleepaway Camp Berserk would be more of a survival horror film, incorporating horror elements like bear traps and rope bridges and camouflage attacks, combined with a possible supernatural layer of mystery because we never see the killer, and we have to wonder if it's Angela who has returned from the dead to strike down anyone who steps foot on the campground. However, in a shocking twist, we would discover that it's not Angela in a physical form, but in spirit, as she has possessed one of the teams at the camp. So, know of any other failed Sleepaway Camp sequels? Let us know by dropping it in the comments. Do you agree with our list, or do you have a suggestion for something that we should cover in a future list? Let us know by dropping that in the comments. And don't forget,
Like, comment, share, and subscribe.
thank you as always. We appreciate you for watching, and until the next.
See ya.